All right, let's start with the social changes and then I'll come to the professional ones. You guys are going to miss your hostels for sure. Uh, Living here, it's sort of like living by yourself. Living independently, what you would sort of, uh, you know, think about living. Let's say you were working or something, then that's sort of the living conditions that you'll be dealing with over here. You do have friends, but you do miss living in a hostel. You do miss hanging out with friends late at night, going into each other's rooms, messing around, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, in that sense, there's a big social change. Uh, but then the other difference is you can have different kinds of fun over here. It's basically independent living on your own. So there are bars, pubs, lots of different things you can do. But yeah, I like personally, I miss my hostel life a lot, like a lot. Okay, so then professional changes. I would say, you know, where lectures and stuff is concerned, at least for the at least in graduate school, I mean, that part stays the same. You're still a student, so you still have to get up in the morning, go to the lectures, study, do assignments, break your head against the wall. All that stuff still happens. Uh, Intensity can vary. You juggle a lot of courses during your undergrad. During your MS, you might not have so many courses, but they'll be demanding. It'll be competitive here as well. So that part doesn't change as much. You're still living like a student. Now, that being said, if you're working part time like I am as a research assistant or as a teaching assistant now, those sort of added responsibilities, you need to manage them as well. So every person does it their own way, I guess. Now that's where graduate school is concerned, but I worked for a year after graduating, so but it was mostly working from home. So in that sense, the professional, the kind of people you meet, how you interact, that changes a lot. You have to know how to deal with different sorts of people. You meet new people. You have to, figure out how to work with people, how to make people work for you, with you. All that sort of stuff needs to be there. So it helps if you've worked with different people in college. So if you've been a part of different groups, different clubs, all that sort of stuff, that definitely helps, I would say. Yeah. Oh, it was very easy for me. I didn't prepare for my placements at all. I Oh yeah, I mean, okay. I knew I didn't want to work. It does help if you have a PPO in hand. I was fairly confident that I had two offers in hand by the time the placement season started. One I got through a hackathon, which was organized by Deloitte, and one I got through my third year internship at Bosch. So, you know, but I had sort of made up my mind, in my third year or in fact, even before that I wanted to do my MS and I wanted to go into research. So I never focused too much on placements and that sort of stuff. I spent most of my time, uh, working either on my research, working with profs, doing projects, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it does get a little hectic, and it's better to be it's like that saying goes, it's always better to be early. So you start your preparation early. Uh, it's going to help you in the sense that you don't lose out on opportunities. So and plus, you know, prepping for exams and all that. So now I don't know if that's the best way. It's probably not. So I always started preparing like a day or two in advance. So yeah, academics weren't. Academics definitely weren't. I was spending a huge amount of time on them every day back in undergrad, anyways. Oh yeah, I mean, so okay. When I got into, even in my first year, I always thought, uh, I might not want to go do a job. I hated the idea of doing a 9 to 5 job. Sitting in a cubicle, like I didn't want to do that. So what's the alternative? I was like, yeah, I mean, if I'm a researcher, even an industrial researcher for that matter, let's say in Microsoft, not a pure academic, uh, that's fine too. So, so I've always sort of been, motivated towards that side of things. I mean, going to the office, that sort of always bored me. So I never considered it very seriously, to be honest. Oh man, oh for sure. Yeah. And it's not how you might think. I mean, so what happened was, okay, it's quite expensive to study in the States, right? If you're a grad student, you're always looking out for funding. And COVID sort of affected that in a very bad way, in the sense that a lot of students got their funding cut, or I had an offer that was retracted. So I was supposed to join Purdue in fall 20 on a scholarship, but because of the pandemic, it had to get postponed because like I couldn't fly out at that time. So my funding got like taken back, and like all that stuff happened. So that was a stressful time. I was very sure of the fact that I didn't want to go unless I was funded. So yeah, that was a stressful time. So that's one aspect of it, about how my studies experience. Yeah. Now coming here, first semester, we were on COVID protocol. You had to wear masks and all that stuff. It was fine. Social events were, frowned upon. You didn't attend, couldn't attend. They weren't being held. But yeah, they have all been largely lifted now. So I go to barbecues, events, I go swimming, and all that stuff. Cinemas. So all that stuff, gyms, big things. So all that stuff sort of, which you couldn't do before during COVID, you can sort of do now. So that sort of makes life more enjoyable over here for sure. Oh, extremely important. Extremely important. So, not that, people who just focus on their academics are, less in any other way. In fact, if so, I usually, tell this to people that, and rather this is how I feel about it, that, when you're doing your undergrad, especially at our institute, have one thing that you're, be it the studies or like apart from your studies as well, like have one thing that you take really seriously. One or more, I mean, it's fine, but like devote yourself, like try to become the best at it, like try to build your skills in that particular field, because it might, one, it makes you, rather, it makes you well-rounded, I guess. It sure, like for sure, makes life more enjoyable in college. I mean, because you're never alone. at our institute. You're always surrounded by people. You can always find people who, share the same passion as you. I was part of a band. I played basketball. Did research. Grades were pretty good. And okay, they weren't the best, but it's fine. All that you could do, and I can't imagine my life, my 4 years at IIT Bhilai, if I didn't have those things, if I'd just been studying, like that would have been terrible, man. Like, now how I balance them, you sort of learn. I don't know if I've learned it yet, but yeah, you sort of learn. So as I told you, like we were up playing volleyball at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., not sleeping at night. I remember there was a time during our third year, we were prepping for this hackathon. I don't think I attended classes for a month. We were up all night coding away, barely sleeping in the mornings, in the afternoon, barely eating, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you do learn to manage, because you learn, hey, if it's just going to take me about a week to prep for the exam, then I'll just give it a week to prep for my exams. Having said that, yeah, I think to each his own. You have to find a way where you're satisfied with everything that you do. Having said that, I would not say it's a good idea to focus so much on your extracurriculars that your academics actually suffer, especially if you're trying to get into grad school, where your academic standing, it matters. Yeah. I started working, with my prof, with Professor Demon at, I think during my third year, or either in my third year or my fourth year. So, working with him, it was basically like a brainstorming session you could have with your friends. We would spend like an hour to whatever, we wouldn't even realize, what we were talking about. We would discuss like hackathon stuff. We started the CTF culture in our last semester, that. So that was all fun, man. All that we did with him. So that was nice. With fact, I think most of my undergrad though, I spent, more memorable moments with my friends, I guess, but that's true for everyone. Fests were always great. We had a blast during the Deloitte hackathon. Prepping for it, we knew like we weren't focusing, none of us were focusing on academics at that point. So, we were working, we were building our product, we were building our solution. The competition aspect is always there. So, that was a very enjoyable time. In fact, hectic, very hectic. But yeah, very enjoyable and very satisfying. We got to go to Hyderabad, had a blast there as well, all paid for. So it was great. I played basketball, so training for that, going to the inter-IITs, those are some of the best moments of my college life as well. Yeah, I mean, academics have sort of not given me very enjoyable moments in college, let's just say that. But yeah, most of my, the music club. I mean, I used to love playing in front of a crowd. Got my guitar chops up. I had been playing for a while, but I really developed, I feel, during my time at IIT Bhilai as a guitar player too. So, those moments were really nice. Went, competed with other, colleges in Battle of Bands. Even the rehearsals were amazing, man. I mean, you'd be playing, metal music till like 2 a.m. You'd get complaints, but who the hell cares, man? Oh yeah, we had a blast, man. And I did some of those things with your immediate seniors, so like 2 batches junior to mine. So meeting new people, making new friends, that was great. Sometimes. So, you know, I I had, my set of friends. There were. I mean, that's a weird way to put it, but you have different people you do different stuff with. So, when I was, we were training for basketball. I had my friends there. Uh, you know, uh, so I wasn't really losing time. But then, when we were working on research projects, I still had my friends. Like I wasn't working with, I didn't work alone. So I was always working with friends. Having said that, once you're in your third and fourth year, everybody sort of, starts paying attention to what they actually want to do. So, everybody sort of has their own path. Some people start prepping for interviews, some people start, focusing on academics, all that stuff. But that's one of the good things about living in a hostel, that, even if, 8 hours, 10 hours, you don't, speak to each other, or, you're doing your own thing, you have classes, you have all that stuff. But, you meet each other during dinner, and most of the time after dinner, you're with someone. So, it doesn't really feel like you're disconnected in any way, and everybody's working on something. So I guess that's just how it goes. So no, I personally never felt that I was losing time with my friends because of my research. Yeah, I think as an alumnus of our institute, I think it's sort of like a responsibility of ours to you guys, um, and to help you out in any way we can. You will still have to do most of the work on your own, which is, you have to. I mean, that's how it goes. But yeah, I think we can sort of help you avoid mistakes. You guys can benefit from our experience, good and bad both. So yeah, and yeah, I am interested, and I have signed up for it. I said just today morning, I think. Yeah, this is actually, uh, this is a very personal question, in the sense that people have different answers for it. I sort of knew what I didn't want to do, so that sort of made my choice easier to make. um, some people get to know by doing it. Sometimes internships are a big eye opener. Having some experience, some research experience during your undergrad sort of tells you, ki, hey, yeah, I don't want to do this, or okay, research is what I'm going to do. So that definitely helps. I think that's probably the best way to make up your mind. Uh, and I think everybody can sort of get started from their first to second year itself. I mean, sure, you might not. I mean, you can sort of start reading research papers, start talking to professors. I think that's super important. Uh, the more you explore, I think the better an idea you have about what you want to do. Some people at the end of it, get very tired of academic life, and they're like, hey, I want to enjoy for a few years. That happens a lot too. I mean, I've seen people over here who come after working for like 4 years, 5 years, and some people do their post graduation as a means to means to advance their career too. So you find all sorts of people. Um, but I think the most important thing you can do to sort of make up your mind is sort of explore more, read more stuff, try different things, try your hand at research, or do projects. I mean, that is probably the most important part. You do projects, you get your hands dirty with code. uh, you soon begin to realize ki, hey, working with code, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, or maybe you don't. In which case you can choose to become a theoretical researcher or whatever. So I think the more you explore, the more you get to know. I think that's a very generic answer, but I mean, everybody knows that, but that's sort of how it goes. Have something apart from your studies, from your academics, that you really want to be good at. And again, this goes back to how do you figure out what do you really want to be good at. So I think again, you should explore. You choose to audit courses if you want, because courses sometimes expose you to things. There is so much out there, different domains. Talk to professors, talk to friends, talk to your seniors. Hey, what can I do? I have free time, but I should be using it somehow. Enjoy your life, and try to learn about the balance, try to strike that balance between your academics and your extracurriculars as soon as possible, because the sooner you learn it, the better it is. Especially if you're trying to get into grad school. I mean, these guys pay a lot of attention to your grades, especially especially if you don't have research experience when you apply. So I mean, start from your first year itself. Do lots of projects. We picked up a project out of blue. We were out there eating shawarmas one day, and we landed a project. That guy's like, "Hey, can you build something for me?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, we will." The point at that, the motivation at that point in time was to earn money, which is fine. Money is never bad. But that's how it goes. I mean, you try that. Try your hand at if you're into security, try CTS. If you're into machine learning, read up on it. There's a lot of stuff. Networks, the list is endless, man. People can be interested in all sorts of things. We have clubs, participate in them, form your own clubs, club societies. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff, especially as freshers. Do your research. I mean, start early. You have to, and talk to your seniors who have applied, who have gone through this process, because they can sort of help you figure out which universities are the safe universities, which are the moderate, which are the ambitious ones, which are really, really selective about the students that they take in, which aren't as selective, which focus on academics more, which focus on the different GRE scores, that sort of stuff more. What sort of chances, what is their student intake, what is their batch size, that sort of stuff. So have that information ready. If you're already decided, if you've decided what sort of research you're into, you can decide, you can rank colleges according to that. CS Rankings has a good list. Look at publications by universities. You can sort of classify universities. It's not as fine as it is. It's not the same in the States as it is in India, that you have different tiers of universities, let's say. But you can sort of figure out that, hey, these universities, this set of universities sort of accept people with my profile, or let's say, or let me put it another way, if I want to get into this university, I mean, people say that they don't over here, but I mean, at least where admits are concerned, they sort of do. You can figure out based on other people's profiles, what sort of colleges you might get. It's okay, so it's never a written rule that or you can never be sure that, just because I have, let's say, this CGPA and this research experience, I have a paper here, or I will get into this university. That does not happen all the time. There are free cases everywhere. People get in colleges that they least expect to, and good for them. People expect to get into certain universities, but they don't, and which is very, very weird sometimes. The selection process is also not made public by these universities over here. So to sort of choose your universities, do your research. There are certain resources I think you can check out. Okay, so if I had to rank them, I would say in a research internship, actually those things are sort of interrelated, because if you get a good prof who's well known in this field, you'll sort of get, he'll probably be in a good college and the project will definitely be good. If you're really interested, if you've already pinpointed the prof you want to work with, I think you don't need to worry about anything else. Yeah, I mean, it does help to talk to a senior, somebody else who's worked with him, especially your seniors. They could, some people have their quirks, some sad stories are there. But yeah, I mean, it always helps to talk to people. If you don't know anybody, now that's tough. I mean, people sometimes go into grad school thinking that we figure it out over there, and which is fine too. But it just makes your application way stronger if you sort of already have some experience doing research. Plus, there are a lot of cases where people don't know, where people decide that, hey, I got into grad school, but I don't really want to do research anymore. So that sort of becomes a huge waste of time and money, in my opinion. It's not the case anymore that we don't have enough opportunities back in India where you do need to do an MS to land a better job or a better salary, that sort of stuff. So if you're not sure about research, then I mean, there are enough opportunities, but that's not the question. Yeah, I think I've answered this part. What matters the most in the research internship? How to find a good research interest. So we sort of covered that too. As I said, the more you explore, the more you get to know about stuff that you want to do, or it's even helpful if you know stuff that you don't want to do. Sort of like that sort of changes, but yeah, I mean, usually it's a good idea if you've explored enough that that hey, this is one research area where I definitely don't want to work in. So for example, for me it was algorithms. I knew I didn't want to work anywhere close to algorithms. And why I decided that, maybe because of the courses, I guess, but that's again exploring. You just do it through courses. Why I decided on security was because, as I said, I used to like reading like reading about exploits and how they were working. I was always interested in system internals, like the kernel level stuff. So and it was a cool cool sounding thing again when I was young. So that's how I decided on my research interest. Clubs are again a very good source of finding out whether you really want to do something or not. That can definitely be because you are again surrounded by like-minded people. You're taking part in competitions, all that sort of stuff. If you're doing your honors, um, you sort of again realize whether you want to work in that field again or not. But by the time you select, you sort of have an idea about what you want to work in if you do honors. I didn't do honors, but people did, and I think they've sort of stuck to what generally speaking, they sort of stuck to what they did during their honors project. If you're in your final year and you still don't know what you want to do, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's okay. Just try to, focus, just maintain your profile. I'm not saying you're in the best position, but, it's not like you can't figure it out later. So, don't give up on the idea of research just because you're in your final year and you don't know what to do. But yeah, I mean, younger people, I mean, hey, sure, explore. Don't waste opportunities, for sure. If you like reading papers, if you like reading research papers, if you like doing something new, I would say, if you have that sort of exploratory attitude about, let's say, software or protocols or any subject in CS in general, what if I tried something like this? What if I did this? Instead of doing this, what if I tweaked it around a little bit? What if I made something new? If you have that sort of an attitude, then I would say you should consider research. If you're sort of obsessive about a problem, you spend days working on the problem, still can't figure it out, but you're willing to spend days more, you should consider research. If you sort of get bored, if you sort of get bored, building applications which, I mean, they'll be part of some product, but if it's a very mundane task in my opinion. So if you're bored doing that, then maybe consider research. And if you are none of those things, then maybe think about getting a job. If people, I mean, there are obviously very smart people, very curious people working as software engineers too. So as I said, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, it's a very personal question. Talking to people always helps, though. I mean, in my opinion, talking to people always helps. People who've you can talk to your seniors, you can talk to your pros. Should I consider this? Should I consider that? Talk to your parents. But yeah, I think if you try different things, that is when you actually know whether you want to do something or not. But you need to try them, and that is where the time that you have during your undergrad is actually very useful. So try as many things as you can, especially during your initial years, and then it's sort of like a guarantee. You try 10 things, you'll realize that, hey, I don't like doing 3 of them. You go deeper into 7 of them, you'll realize, hey, I don't want to do 4 of them. That's just sort of how it goes. Yeah, so I was I was sort of always interested in security research. So I always like I took the crypto course because it was new. I thought ki hey, it's related to security, so let me get, and that was probably one of the most useful courses that I did during my undergrad, in the sense that it gave me some idea about how attacks, defenses, that sort of stuff works. Now my area of research, I always thought when I was an undergrad, I was doing systems stuff all the time. I never thought that I would be doing something related to machine learning, but here I am. My research is right now at the intersection of both things. I'm working on, I'm basically working on attacks against privacy in federated learning, which is sort of like a branch of machine learning. So, but the only thing that, I was sure of was, hey, it has to do something, it has to be something that, relates to security. If I'm doing that, if I'm working on attacks, if I'm working on breaking stuff, I'm going to be happy. Again, you can't do that, all the time when you can't do that if you're working. So, where else can you do that? Go do your thesis on it, go write papers on it, and it's appreciated over there. So, do research. That's sort of how it is.